So the Donald Trump clown show continues, and I want to give you the latest on what's going on with the trade war with China. So let's just jump right in.
Fair trade with China. They are the most imbalanced economy in the history of the world, and they need to rebalance. Now, Maria, the big deal that could be done here is President Trump is oriented the U.S. toward a manufacturing economy, taking us back to the strength that's been sapped over the past several decades. Everyone knows that China.
Okay, so this is Scott Pacent. That's our treasury guy. Every time he's about to tell a big lie, he clears his throat. Yeah, Trump's going to bring back all the factory jobs. This guy's got the worst poker face ever. But literally, they're saying, hey, let's going to roll it back and we become a factory country again. Good luck with that. This is interesting because before Trump was bragging about having a phone call with Xi, there was no evidence of that. No one said anything in the White House, and they wouldn't back him up on it either, even though he's basically saying a bunch of nonsense. Today, they asked him again about what's going on with China talks. Have a listen to this.
I have not met with them. Of course, you would know if I met. I'd tell you they want to meet, but we are right now. Look, they're suffering greatly. Their economy is suffering greatly because they're not doing trade with the U.S. and they made most of their money off the U.S.
So you heard Trump just say, I have not met with them. Remember before in a prior interview, he said he had a phone call with Xi. This is Scott Pacent in front of Congress. What's going on with the trade deal/trade war with China? What's going on?
There are 18 very important trading relationships. We are currently negotiating with 17 of those trading partners. China, we have not engaged in negotiations with as of yet. So I expect that we can see a substantial reduction in the tariffs that we are being charged, as well as non-tariff barriers, currency manipulation, and the
So basically, we got nothing. And as I've been telling you guys all along, be it Trump, be it Pacent, Lutnick, be it Elon Musk, whenever you make these, wild claims or whatever, tell it to a judge, testify before Congress. Before Congress, these people are quite different. Well, we're not talking to China, right? And it was interesting today, even Trump's like, I didn't mean with Xi. If I talked to him, you would have known. Stupid. But that's why you got to call these people out on this stuff. And so this is why the markets were down today, because basically we have a bunch of incompetent people at the top. It says here, Dow slides nearly 400 points. S&P 500 books back-to-back losses as path on trade deal remains unclear. Again, we can all see it. We got nothing. Paul Tudor Jones says stock market will hit new lows even if Trump cuts China tariffs to 50%. That's sort of been the talk also, is that we're expecting Trump to cave even more and reduce tariffs on China. Paul Tudor Jones is a billionaire dude, and he actually is not necessarily against tariffs entirely, but if you're going to do it, make sure you're doing it, surgically, not necessarily across the board. Let's see what Trump had to say. He was bragging about making some big deals. What are these deals?
Where everyone wants to be. Now, if I didn't come here and do this, all of a sudden we wouldn't be the market where everyone wants to be. So we're able to do it in time. But we're going to have a great announcement, and I'm not necessarily saying it's on trade. Going to the beginning.
So I guess we're having a great announcement, but it's not going to be on trade. That's according to Trump. He actually mentioned it a couple times. What could the great announcement be? I think it's a possibility he's going to announce that he's going to build Trump Hotel and Resort in Gaza, maybe send troops there. There is a possibility of that, to be really frank. This was the headlines coming out of Fox News today. Israeli minister says Gaza will be, quote, entirely destroyed. Palestinians forced into other countries. I'll just say this whole situation is sad. I don't know what else to say about it. It's a sad situation. And, it just further shows who the people at the top are, be it your Netanyahu's or your Trumps. They're just interested in building hotels and profiting off of other people's misery, unfortunately. And I know it's not fun to watch that kind of stuff or talk about it, but you do want to be honest about these conversations about this stuff. And, these guys are liars and crooks. That's Trump there, J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio. You got Susie Wiles, Karen Levitt's in the room, Stephen Miller. Those are the people who are basically Trump's handlers and telling them what to do. Who's calling the shots? Who knows? But I'll just tell you, Trump's basically in it for himself. It's obvious. But again, let's just see what he has to say. He said he's got some big deal.
And we'll have maybe before we're going to, as you know, the Middle East, Saudi Arabia. We're going to UAE and Qatar. And that'll be, I guess, Monday night. Some of you are coming with us. I think before then we're going to have a very, very big announcement to make, like as big as it gets, and I won't tell you on what, but it's going to, and it's very positive. I'd tell you if it was negative or positive. I can't keep that up. It is.
So big announcement. It's going to be positive, and he's going to the Middle East first. That shows you where his priorities are. Nothing on China. That's a wider shot of the room. Just wanted to show you guys kind of what it looked like. So Carney was there. Carney didn't say a whole lot. From Canada, and he brought some people with him as well. But it would be tough to go in that kind of environment where basically you have to deal with a guy who lies constantly. Like how do you handle that? So it's like I said, it's a tough environment to deal with this. What else did Trump have to say today?
Cut for the Canadian citizens. You get free military, you get tremendous medical cares and other things.
I thought it was strange because he was talking about making Canada the 51st state, saying, oh, yes, you're going to get a military and you're going to have this great health care. It's like, what? And I just want to talk about the healthcare situation. Canadian healthcare is going to be better than the USA in terms of it's going to be more affordable. Certainly, if you're rich in USA, you can get great healthcare, but that's only going to be for people at the top. But that's sort of the world that Trump wants to build, right? Everything is beneficial to him and his billionaire buddies to all make money, etc. And now he's going to be talking about these wonderful real estate deals. And that's why I said before, he's probably going to announce some sort of real estate thing in Gaza or something like that. I wouldn't be shocked. Because listen to how he talks about Canada.
There would be a lot of advantages, but it would be a massive tax cut. And it's also a beautiful, as a real estate developer, I'm a real estate developer at heart. When you get rid of that artificially drawn line, somebody drew that line many years ago with like a ruler, just a straight line right across the top of the country. When you look at that beautiful formation when it's together, I'm a very artistic person, but when I looked at that beauty, I said, that's the way it was meant to be.
So Trump says he's an artistic person, but basically he does iron golf courses and hotels in Canada. So if you're going to be the 51st state, that's what he wants. Carney completely rejected that. Watch this.
They like each other a lot.
Well, if I may, as you know from real estate, there are some places that are never for sale.
That's true.
We're sitting in one right now, Buckingham Palace that you visited as well.
That's true.
And having met with the owners of Canada over the course of the campaign last several months, it's not for sale.
So Canada is not for sale. That's coming from Carney. So I want to make sure that was clear. And also make sure it's clear that Trump's just in it for himself. It's obvious the way he talks about real estate, et cetera. He gets excited when it's ever about, oh, wow, I can make some money at these kind of things, right? And you get a sense of who these people are. And I know, I see the MAGA people every now and then write comments, and they just think I'm just hating. It's like, literally, I'm just showing you who they are. Trump's a real estate guy, business person. He wants to profit for himself, and he has no interest in really helping the average person at all. And then he sends out his people nonstop to lie to you and say, oh, all of your factory jobs are going to come back, right? And it becomes obvious what's going on here if you're willing to look and open your eyes, which I'm trying my best to show you guys. Let's take a look at some more. What's going on?
Just to finish, we also have a situation, because everyone says, when are you going to sign deals? We don't have to sign deals.
So we're talking about trade war and with China and stuff like that. When are we going to sign deals? When are we going to sign deals? So what does he say?
We could sign 25 deals right now, Howard, if we wanted. We don't have to sign deals. They have to sign deals with us. They want a piece of our market. We don't want a piece of their market. We don't care about their market. They want a piece of our market. So we can just sit there.
So, and again, this is all basically talking to his base, acting like we don't care about other countries and we don't need to sell anything or do any trade with other countries. It's like, they have to do business with us. We don't care about that one. And we could, if we want to do deals, we could do 25 right away. Well, we're just, I don't know what we're doing. like how do you, how far can you spin this yarn or spin this lie that you're this great business person? And I guess all you have to do is produce a great TV show and just do the accordion hands and say how good of a business person you are, and people fall for it. It's so sad that anyone believes any of this nonsense. I mean, and I just wanted to let you guys know, you're not crazy. I'm not crazy. We live in reality. People often say too, it's nice to be around somebody who talks like a human being. yes, I do. None of that. Hi, friends. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Right? We talk like real people around here. And unfortunately, I think the audience have been sort of conditioned to eat up BS nonstop, be it from politicians or what you see on social media, et cetera. And so that's probably why it feels different when you come out and hang out with us in our community where we talk like real human beings and we can see through the BS, which is what, in my opinion, is what is needed in today's world. Let's look at it some more. And again, let's try to cut through the BS together.
When you're saying about the tariffs?
No, about the investments that you've announced. You've announced.
Oh, it's hitting right now. Look,
the question was, because the number keeps ballooning, like he was bragging about $9 trillion in investments of this phantom money coming in. And the question was like, when are we going to see this money, right? And what does Trump have to say?
Already starting AI plants. These are not people that look for financing. That's a good thing. In real estate, you get a site, then you have to look for financing, you have to get your zoning, 5 years later you start building, you get a bank, then the bank's no good. These people have massive amounts of cash.
So it was really interesting because Trump tells on himself here, right? So the question was, when's that going to see that, big money coming in? And he starts talking about, oh, well, these, AI people, they got the money, for me, a finance, in real estate, it takes a long time. You got zoning, could take 5 years. And the bank's like, oh, the deal went bad. Like he's really saying his experiences, right? And this is also telling because I told you guys before, their plan is put a bunch of tariffs on you, take that money, give it to Elon Musk. Elon Musk then builds his factories to build these robots and AI that doesn't work. It's all a scam, right? And then Trump's claiming that all these AI people have money. Well, then explain this. This is the headline, April 26, 2025. Elon Musk's X Holdings in talks to raise $20 billion. And I always bring this stuff up. When the people like a Trump or Musk, talk about their wealth, they're always inflating how much it really is. Elon Musk is out trying to raise and borrow money to build these stupid plants and factories of products and things that don't work. Right? Do you guys see how this is all a scam? And if you don't understand this also as well, Elon Musk's wealth is largely based on Tesla stock, which is fluctuating, which is highly overvalued. It could drop like a rock any moment as sales are plummeting, which I guess I'll make it a separate video on. But the point being is it's all smoke and mirrors. And Trump's saying that all these people have money, but they don't. And I can make a pledge. Anyone can make a pledge of like, oh yeah, I pledge to build AI stuff in 5 years, and I pledge we're all going to make a bunch of money in 5 years. But this is all years down the road, and it may never work. And even if it does, let's say all this investment, all that tariff money goes to build this, robot and AI factories. They're designed to replace you, right? So it's all a scam. It's all a scam, right? He's promised you to bring you back to the factory jobs, and then much of the investment is to replace you with AI and robots. It's sad. It's sad that anyone falls for this stuff, but and I hate to be mean the last couple of days, but it just becomes more and more apparent. People who watch Fox News, people who watch manga, they're living in this like weird fantasy land, and I'm just trying to wake people up. Let's watch a little bit more from Basant here.
Just on trade, but the non-tariff trade barriers for China are especially insidious. China actually has low tariffs. That if you look at the stated tariffs, it's just impossible for U.S. companies to do business there. And when they do, they're
Notice when he starts coughing, he's acting like it's impossible to do business in China. Guys, our companies do a lot of business in China, and this notion that we don't do any is ludicrous. I just looked up some quick numbers. Apple, 20% of their sales are in China. Tesla, 2024 was like, a third, a little bit more than that. Deliveries are in China. If you want to talk about the movies, 20% of the global box office of China. To act like China's not important or that we don't do business there is ludicrous. We do a lot of business in there. What's sad though is we have people at the top who just lie on a daily basis, and it becomes really frustrating, to be perfectly frank. Let's watch a little bit more here because I want to point this part out, and this is something that a lot of people will miss, but I think it's worth watching. Check this out, what Trump has to say about doing business with him in the White House here.
By who's sitting around the table?
See, the conflict is, and this is very friendly. We're not. This is not going to be like We had another little blow up with somebody else. That was a much different. This is a very friendly conversation.
And they're referring to basically when J.D. Vance and Trump attacked Zelensky, if you remember that. And so it's like, oh, we had a little friendly blow up. But, you know, if you're a leader of another country, do you want to go in this environment where Trump's a liar and at any moment they could attack you? And then you have to deal with basically a toddler. And for those of you who are parents, you know it's tough. It's tough to deal with a screaming, crying kid in public, right? There's no great way to go about it, right? And so oftentimes this is sort of why you don't necessarily want to deal, you know, especially in these kind of things on camera with someone like a Trump. It's tough. And so Carney actually didn't say a whole lot. I mean, what can you do? You want to start a fight with Trump like the whole meeting? It's to be fair to Carney, it's a tough to do. And so essentially, if you don't want to do business because it's too tough with Trump, you just don't, and you just cut it. What's going on with China, though, is that they're trying to make a trading bloc with Japan and Korea. So that's been the talks. They're also, I guess, getting closer to building a free trade zone with Southeast Asia. That was announced here today. It says Malaysia, Prime Minister says Asia and China free trade deal to be finalized soon. So we'll see. It hasn't been finalized yet, but I'm just saying that that's what China's working on. And, you know, Trump and the U.S. trade reps aren't even talking to China is what it sounds like. That's what Bessent literally says, that we're not talking. Listen more to what Bessent has to say regarding the stuff with China.
Is looking to bring back the precision manufacturing jobs that have left over the past decades. And I think we will close the uncertainty aperture more and more every day, every week on these tariffs. But we didn't get here overnight. We're not going to fix this overnight. But I do think uncertainty will go away. But also, Maria, I point out, in game theory, strategic uncertainty is a negotiating tactic, and no one does it better than President Trump.
So that's what we're saying, and a lot of times what these people do is they try to paint Trump's basically ineptness and unqualified, skills, and they try to make it seem like he's some sort of master. Oh well, Trump's just a master of strategic uncertainty, and you should just trust Trump. So that's what we have to deal with. That's what's going on. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this, and I'll catch you on the next video.